with America's Styrenics, also known as AmSty, and I've put together just a few slides here to introduce my company and kind of what we do, where we are. So we're the leading producer of styrene and polystyrene in North America. We have several facilities, styrene plant in Louisiana, 5 polystyrene plants across the states, and 1 in Cartagena, Colombia. And we also have an advanced recycling facility in Tigard, Oregon, which is a joint venture with a company called Agilyx. You can see the markets we serve and a number of the sustainability progress points there. I will say that we've been ISCC Plus certified now going on 3 years. We were the U.S. company that sat down with ISCC here in the U.S. several years ago and promoted developing a standard for recycled plastics, and it is now, of course, taken off globally. So the backdrop here for us, a lot of our efforts, you're very well aware of this, but there's a global calling to address this issue that we have of plastic waste and plastic pollution around the world, and it's certainly driving a lot of our efforts. We've been active in the polystyrene recycling area for over 10 years. We started first at our polystyrene plant in Connecticut, and we installed a dissolution train where we're basically taking clean polystyrene waste. It's from the retail segment. It gets pulverized, all the contaminants get removed, and then it's blended into the polystyrene reactor where it's mixed with fresh styrene that's going through the polymerization process, and you get a blended pellet that's got some recycled content in it. It's very unique. It can't really be scaled to a lot of volume because it requires an exceptionally clean incoming feedstock. But that was kind of phase 1 for us, and we've been doing it for 10 years. Second step for us was to create a company called Regenix. That is a 50-50 joint venture with a company called Agilyx, which is a technology company. And we've been running now for 4 years. It's in Oregon, and we're taking polystyrene waste from Oregon, California, Washington, food service waste, phone cups, takeout containers, and it's going through a pyrolysis process where it gets converted to a styrenic liquid, and then from there we ship it back to our styrene plant where it gets purified to ASTM spec styrene. And this is a proof of concept plant, but we have our ups and downs with reliability that we're working through and a variety of debottlenecking projects, but the technology works. And so now it's a point of getting it to scale. And then our next step that we announced last year, and Carlo will speak more about it, he's from Encina, is we signed a long-term off-take agreement with Encina. They're going to build a greenfield facility in Pennsylvania that'll take mixed plastic waste. So polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene from the municipal areas of New York and Philadelphia. They'll run it through their process, break it down. We're going to off-take the recycled benzene, which is a raw material for styrene. Styrene and ethylene are used to make, benzene and ethylene are used to make styrene. And so that was a multi-year off-take agreement. We entered into a public MOU that we're contemplating an arrangement where we'll off-take up to 250,000 tons from them over the course of many years. And then we signed a definitive agreement for a specific amount that's not publicly disclosable for this specific project. So we continue the diligence here, very active on driving recycling projects. For us, it's existential. Polystyrene is under a lot of public attack, and there's a lot of things here that we see in front of us. We need to continue scaling the technologies. We like seeing a wide range of technologies that are out there. Competition drives innovation, and as every one of these announcements comes into play about such and such company putting in a recycling project, we see it as a good thing. It's one of those cases where a rising tide lifts all boats, and anything that increases capturing the plastic waste and repurposing it back into society is a good thing. And so we're working very broadly through our industry associations with others, to promote that and stand up partnerships where it makes sense. Mechanical recycling is going to be a very important part of this as well. Advanced recycling is a wonderful tool, and we support it, but there are applications where it's just not a fit due to scale, or in some cases, some locations don't recognize advanced recycling as recycling, so we're going to need both to get to where we need to go. We're working to commercialize these with our customers. Major announcement last week where one of our customers, Pactive Evergreen, is a large thermoformer, and they are partnering with our company to take recycled polystyrene and make the products that they make for the brand customers. Very important that we have a regulatory framework that allows us to make the investments that we need to make to solve this problem. So we're very active in the advocacy space, both at the federal, local, and even global level. And we do need to see the infrastructure put in place here to collect the plastic waste so that we can use it.
So Richard, it feels like AmSty is like looking at the landscape of opportunities from a technology or a recycling point of view here and making a few bets, right, to kind of see. And I think that's one of your findings is it's too early to pick a winner, right? So I guess what are some of the criteria that you use from your perspective to see what technologies would make most sense for you?
Reliability and economics. I mean, it's got to work and it's got to be affordable. And so, you know, when you step off into these areas, initially the economics, you have to look at it over the long term, right? But you've got to see a pathway towards getting to where you want to go. I will say we feel very comfortable with the investments and decisions that we've made. And then to his point as well, we think we'll be better positioned if we marry up with technologies that can use a range of feedstocks instead of insisting on purity of feedstock.
Okay. So, I mean, some of these companies, right, have been around for a while. Agilex was one of our earliest clients going back to 2012, 2013. I've in fact visited the Tigard facility, and it was very different, a lot of batch reactor operations at that point of time. So these and of course, you know, in full fairness, right, Agilex also pivoted a little bit away from making pyrolysis synthetic oil to more like focused on polystyrene, more the molecular recycling concept, right? So some of these, but I think the question that I'm trying to ask is some of these companies have been around for a while. Is the pace of progress are we taking longer paces now with some of the technologies that are being developed, or is it still a while away to see full-fledged commercial deployment of these technologies?
So my vantage point is I've been with my company for a year, but prior to that, I spent 31 years in the paper and packaging industry, okay? And so there's a lot of parallels between those two industries. And I'll go way back. When I was a teenager in high school, I worked in a grocery store, and we took the boxes off the truck, we put the goods on the shelf, and then we took the old boxes to the back of the store and we put them in a furnace and we burned them because there was not any end market use for old boxes. Over 15 years that changed as that industry saw it as a source of raw material, and they made a lot of investments, and over the course of 15, 20 years, that became a very mature market very fast. You know, recycled plastic is different. We are on the cusp, but this industry, in my opinion, is not going to be allowed the benefit of time to develop that organically like a free market normally would. It's on the path. People are making investments today, but society's not going to let us do it at our own pace. And that's where all these regulations are coming in. So this industry, if the paper industry, you know, had to kind of make that kind of progress, I think the plastics industry has to do a moonshot. And you're seeing a lot of companies making investments. I mean, you're seeing announcements every couple weeks or so. Yeah. The industry gets it, and they're putting a lot of money into it, and it's just, you know, what is the best technology for the application? How do you get access to the feedstock? I spent a lot of my time in the paper industry responsible for procuring feedstocks for 25 mills. And one takeaway from that was all feedstocks are local. You're going to have to develop a very targeted acquisition strategy for what makes sense for your technology in that location. There's not a one-size-fits-all kind of takeaway that you can apply to it. Yeah. In fact, people who can understand feedstocks and develop those solutions for the technologies probably going to be pretty rare until that skill set gets built. So if you've got a good one, I'd keep them. So that's going to be very important.